Hey, what's up guys? It's Claude here, and today we're going to be doing a little analysis of EXPI together. I'm going to be walking you through my thought process. I'm still sort of analyzing the stock, and what I'm doing here is trying to figure out which stocks I want to leave my money in, because I am putting basically all of my money into Tesla, and the only reason why I'm leaving some money in other stocks is because I need a savings in case something happens, or I get an expense on the house and I need to fix something up. I need to have access to some cash. Otherwise, I would put it all into Tesla, and I just prefer to have that sitting in other stocks that I believe in rather than sitting in cash. So I'm going to be selling most of my stocks and putting it into Tesla, and I'm leaving a few that I'm going to leave the money in there basically as a really high interest savings account. And so EXPI is one of those where I've considered, hey, maybe I want to leave my money in this one. And so I'm going to bring you through the thought process here together with me as to what I am thinking here on this. What I have up here on the screen right now is basically what they made in 2020. So we're going to be looking at, all right, they've got 40,000 agents. On average, they made $45,000 per each agent in revenue. So that brought them to a total of $1.8 billion in revenue for the year. We go down the line, how much did they spend in commission and other agents? $1.6 billion, or 91%, which I looked at 91%, and that's been pretty consistent at what they were at for all the past years. That commission and agent structure stays the same, and the reason why is because it's the same amount for like each agent. Like, it doesn't change, it's a percentage, but it does fluctuate, but it's going to stay within about 91%. It's really not going to get much better in the long run. G&A 6.8%. It's been about there in the past as well. Sales and marketing really small, 0.29%. They just have a great business model where they don't have to do much sales and marketing themselves. And so that gives them a total expense of $1.7 billion, which gives them a gross income of $34 million. Now, if you're looking on the 2020 financials and you're saying, hey, yours doesn't line up with the 2020 financials, that's because, look, it's not going to be exact, because what I'm doing here is I'm taking what they finished the year with. They finished the year with 40,000 agents, and they finished with making $45,000 per agent. If you're looking at what they started with in 2020, they did not have 40,000 agents. They had like 25,000 agents, and they were not making $45,000 per agent. They were making like $40,000 per agent. So my model here is basically assuming that they had 40,000 agents and were making $45,000 per agent for the whole entire year. That did not happen, and that is why my model is going to be slightly higher than if you go and look online. But if you go and look online, I'm not that far off here. I am, if you look online, you're going to see the pre-tax income as $31 million. And right here, if we look at the gross income, we've got $34 million. So we're really not that far off. And besides, basically what this model is showing is if they didn't grow at all and they stayed at this for this year in 2021, that is what their gross income would be. And then for taxes, I'm using 25%. Right now it's 22. Biden's proposing 28. I don't know where it's going to go or what it's going to be in the long run. So we're just going in the middle to make everybody happy. We're going to assume 25%, which gives us a net income of almost 26 million. If you give that a 100 PE ratio, because it's a growing company, you can change it, make your own PE ratio. But I'm giving them 100. I think that's fair. I don't think that's too low or too high. I think that's pretty fair for a company that is growing as fast as they are. That makes them a 2.5. Now, they are currently valued at like $12 billion. So what we want to do here is we're going to do two models. We're going to do a 2025 model, and then we're going to do a 2030 model, and we're going to see, all right, are they really overvalued? Is the growth there? And actually, the stock is down a lot right now when I'm doing this analysis. I mean, the stock was double at one point. It was like a $24 billion stock, which I think was pretty close to overvalued. But let's see what we think right now. Do we think they have a lot of good growth? What about 2025, 2030? And the way I like to first go about this is I want to see their full maximum potential. This is how I sort of like to analyze stocks, is let's just see, what if they dominated and they took the whole entire market and they were a monopoly? So that's what we're going to do. Now, how many agents are there worldwide? Because they're a worldwide company. In the US, it's just like 1.3 million. But worldwide, they don't have records of it because they don't have a Realtor association like they do in the US everywhere else, so that they kind of guess, and they guess between 3 to 5 million. So let's go high here. Let's assume that they've got 5 million agents, and let's assume that revenue per agent's gone up. I don't know, what do we want to give it? 120,000 per agent. I just want to give them the moon, because what I'm trying to do here is I want to see if I give them the moon, is it like a 7x stock? Because if I give them the moon and it's a 7x, I'm probably not really interested, because I know they're probably not going to achieve the moon. I don't see a reason why they're going to take everybody. And so if it's a 7x stock with the moon, I know it's probably going to be less than that, and I'll probably stop the analysis there and say, this isn't worth my time. So this is like a initial check. Is it even worth my time to really kind of do some modeling here in my analysis? All right, so 120,000, boom, 91%. We're going to leave that. G&A, that's still not going to be 6.8% as they scale. That's going to go down. So, hey, let's say by that time they've got everybody. That's down to 4%. I'm going to put 6.8 here so I remember that's what that is. All right, 0.29%. Again, that'd probably be even less. It'd almost be like 0, but I'm not going to change it because 0.29% really doesn't make a difference when we're talking about these numbers. All right. And that makes this a $2 trillion market cap. Am I reading that right? Yeah, $2 trillion market cap. Insane. Totally worth our time. All right. Now let's do some like realistic modeling, right? Let's assume, let's not give them the world. Oh, they are not looking too good when we do that. Let's assume, what do we think? First, let's just think 2021. And then we're going to go to 2025, and then we're going to go to 2030. And we have to really go to 25 and 2030 to really kind of get an idea of where we think the companies will be in when you're looking at a growth company. You can't look year to year, because we're going to see. I'm going to show you 2021, a bullish and a moderate thesis, and you're going to see that they're still not really meeting the value that they're at right now. So right now, I know, I've listened to a recent call that they have 50,000 agents right now already. So they ended 2020 with 40,000. They're already at 50,000. They believe that they will get to about 80,000 agents, but they have an internal goal of 100,000. Now, I believe that they could get 100,000, which would be more than a double in growth per agents for the year. Why do I believe that they can do that? A big reason is Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is out there. He's pumping it. He's got a huge following, and especially a lot of salespeople and a lot of agents. And he's got his wife who's going to be trying to recruit people under him or under her so that they can get that revenue share model, because EXPI is almost like an MLM, but that's what allows them to keep their sales and marketing so low. So it's honestly a bonus for them. So that's going to help it grow a lot. Plus, the MLM structure is set up to the point where it is almost like compounding, right? The more people that you have in EXPI, the more of them that want to go out and are now recruiting for you to bring people under them so they can make more money. It's just compounding. You're going to, if you added 20,000 agents last year, you're not going to add 20,000 agents this year. You're going to add way more than that. So let's assume 80,000 in our moderate scenario. Now, they made 45,000 per agent to end the year in 2020. And if we look at over here in my comment, we see how much they've been growing that revenue per agent for the past 3 years. Went from 33 to 39 to 45. Okay, so let's assume they get 50,000 in 2021, right? I think that's reasonable. And we are going to leave all of this other stuff the same. I'm going to change that back to 6.8%. We give them 100 PE. And right, what I should have done though with when I was giving them the world, I should not have given them 100 PE, because they're no longer growing. They shouldn't be valued at 100 PE. So we should have half that, and then maybe even half that again. So it shouldn't have been 2 trillion. It should have probably been like 500 billion, maybe 700 billion. A $5.7 billion company. Again, they're valued at 12 billion right now. Still undervalued. Or sorry, still overvalued if we're just comparing them to 2021. Now let's assume they hit their ambitious goal of 100,000 agents. All right, $50,000, I'm gonna leave all that the same. Now it's a $7.7 billion company. Okay, but what we really wanna see is, where is their growth potential? And what we're gonna do here is, now we're going to change this to 2030, and we are going to use the CEO's estimate of where he thinks they could be at in 2030 with an average growth rate of 40% per year, which would be 1,350,000 agents. And that's really not that many. That's 1.3 million. There's 1.3 million agents just in the U.S. alone. And this is a global company, so they're going to be expanding, and it's not going to just be the U.S. Now, by 2030, we're assuming they're not still going to be at $45,000 per agent. I don't know. Their revenue is going to go up. Who knows? Maybe. Again, let's be bullish here. Let's give them 90. We'll give them 90,000 per agent. We'll bring this down a tad. Maybe we'll bring G&A down to 6%. We're going to have to give them a little bit less of a PE. 70 PE. Now you've got a $172 billion company. This is attractive, right? Because if we take 172 divided by 12, that's a 14x in 10 years. Okay, I'm interested in that. Now let's see, what could they get by 2025 though? You know, are we a little early to this growth stage? So if we're assuming that they're growing at 40% for 2025, right? And so if they're at 40,000 agents right now, we're going to assume they've got 40,000, and they are growing at, here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put 1.4. We're going to make that the growth rate. And this is for by 2025, so we're starting here in 2021 with 40,000. 21, 22, 20, well, not 223, but that's fine. 25. All right. All right. That gives us 150,000 agents. We're just going to use round numbers here because round numbers are nice. We're going to have to bump up that revenue per agent. Let's give them 60,000 an agent. We can give them 100 PE because they're still growing more. That's an $18 billion company. 18 divided by 12, 1.5. I'm not too excited about 1.5 over the next 5 years, but I think this is more of a bear case scenario because realistically, do I think they're only going to grow 40% this year? No. I think 40% is reasonable from 2025 to 2030, but from now to 2025, no. I think this year is going to be huge. I think they're going to at least double this year. So let's go ahead and put some thought behind these numbers. Gosh, I hate numbers. All right. Let's make this 80,000 here and see how that changes the numbers. Let's say they are growing at the same pace that they have been. Let's give them a 1.6% growth rate now instead. So this year they double. They do a 100% growth rate. Then we're going to say they're hitting 60% growth from then on after that. All right, so that is 330,000 agents. Now that's 40 billion. All right, that's a 3x in 5 years. That's nicer. And I think this is a more moderate scenario right here. I think this is definitely a more moderate scenario. And that's why I sort of like EXPI here. Because 3x isn't bad over the next 5 years. Like it's pretty good. Now if we want to make this 100,000 and go with our bull scenario, we can do that. So that gives us 410,000 agents. That gives us 50 billion. Okay, now it's a 4x over 5 years. A 4x is great. So a 3 to 4x is what we're thinking over the next 5 years. I like that. I like those numbers. That's pretty good. And now when I do my bull my bull case scenarios, my moderate case scenarios, and bear case scenarios, it's important to not change too many of the variables. Like you'll notice, I'm not also changing the revenue for each of these situations, because then you get too much of extremes. You get an extreme bear, an extreme bull, and really you just want to change like 1 or 2 scenarios. And that's why I was just changing the agents and leaving the revenue per agent and not changing that. You don't want to have too much that you have to change. You want to keep models simple. Now let's do this for 2030. All right, so we know, based on our estimate, we're assuming we're going to have either 300,000 or we are having 400,000 agents. I got to put this somewhere so I know. 300,000 or 400,000 agents in 2025. And that's what we're going to use to grow from there. So let's assume our more moderate case scenario, and let's assume that they're growing at 40% here after that. All right, now they have 1.1. Am I adding that right? Yep. 1,100,000 agents. And we're going to have to bump this number up. Let's give them 80,000 an agent is what they're making. No, let's just double it from 2020. From what they're making now. Over 10 years, they could do that. So 90,000, that is, they're going to have a lower market cap by here. Let's give them 50, or sorry, a lower PE. Be a little bit more reasonable. So, hang on. Let's do this. 2025 is a 3 to 4x. 2030. Let's see. In one scenario, we've got basically 100 divided by 12. We've got an 8x. And this is in our more moderate scenario here. Now, let's assume that they've got 400,000 at the end of 2025. Now, that's 1.5 million agents. And again, I don't think these are extreme numbers at all either. And that's why I'm still giving them a 50 PE ratio, because even at 1.5 million agents, there's still they still, I say only have 50% of the market, but there's still more agents out there that they could keep growing, especially internationally. Maybe they only have 25% of the market if we're going with the 5 million agents out there. So now we've got 137. All right, so that is an 8 to 11x. Now, I'm not giving you guys financial advice here. I don't know if this company will actually do that. They could go bankrupt. I have no idea. This is just my thought process, but I'm really kind of sharing it out there with everybody for you to critique me. Let me know, what am I doing wrong? Let me know, what do you disagree with? Where are you saying, hey, you're wrong here. This is why they're not going to grow that big, or this is why they're going to grow so much bigger. To me, I like these numbers of my basic modeling that I've done here. And now if we want to get sort of more into the fundamentals here of saying, well, why are you just assuming this company is going to keep growing at 40 or 60%? Like, are you just basing it off of the past history? No, the reason why I believe this company is going to grow and get bigger is because I'm in the industry. I am a real estate agent, and I see what is attractive about joining EXP Realty. I mean, I would want to join EXP Realty once I start selling houses and making money. I just haven't sold anything yet, which is why I'm not with them. But EXP is where I'd want to go. The reason why it's so attractive is for a couple of reasons. One, it's an 80-20 split up until you make basically $80,000 in commissions. So if you're making more than $80,000 in commissions, if you're making $150K, if you're a big producer, you're going to want to go to EXP Realty. It's going to be the best commission split for you, and which is going to make the revenue per agent actually a lot higher. Number two, you get stock with the company at a discount. So the stock alone has made a lot of agents a millionaire just alone. And then number three, you basically can also build passive income. So there's three ways that people have really profited exponentially from EXP Realty. One, through the commission split, right? If you're a high producer and you're selling a lot of houses a year and you're making, $300,000, $500,000 a year, EXP Realty is the best commission split for you to go to. If you're only making $50K a year, yeah, sure, maybe there's other places you'd rather go to. Then people have become super wealthy just from the stock alone, getting in at a discount, using some of their commissions to buy shares each time they close. That alone has made people millionaires. Then there's also the passive income side. As you recruit people and get agents under you and you get a little bit every time they sell a house, now you're also making money. And there's people who don't even sell houses anymore and are just done because of the stock has appreciated so much, or because they have people under them and they're getting passive income from them, or they do a combination of all three and they are just killing it. And so that is what is so attractive about the model, and there's no other competition right now even close to them. And so that is why I believe they will keep growing if you're asking for the fundamental reasons behind them. And so based on our basic modeling that I did here, I like the 3 to 4x and the 8 to 11x numbers. Nowhere near what I think Tesla is going to be able to do. But for a savings account, I like this. So I'm curious, guys. Critique me. Let me know what I did wrong, what you like, so I can get better myself.